$1,000 donor lawnmower. My dad gave me this specifically for the reason of making this tow rope. Hey, trying to video. And in order to do the tow rope, basically we need a motor and a transmission. So we're gonna take off the lawnmower's parts and use this transmission and motor. So once we know the engine's running, we'll double check that the transmission works. And then we need to rig up some sort of mechanism back here. And the idea is we're going to use one tire as a drive to drive the pulley, or basically pull the rope. So we need to set up a pulley system here that will put tension on the rope around this tire. This tire will probably take off and block, because it's an open differential in there. So if this tire isn't blocked, then that one would just spin. So we'll take this off. We also need to make a stand for it so that we can set it on the ground and affix it to our post out there underneath the zipline tower so that it doesn't pull down the hill when we start yanking on it. So first step, see if the motor can run. There's a good chance this carburetor may need to be cleaned out, but we'll go ahead and see if we can at least get it running. I think my dad said this was running when he gave it to us, but that was more than a year ago. So. Okay, so it will run. It probably we'll get it running a little bit here. I may take the carburetor apart and clean it out and then put it back together. Go. Okay, update. I pulled off the carburetor and it's totally gummed up, and actually the main jet piece was broken off in there. So I'm gonna have to get a different carburetor. Luckily my dad has about, I don't know, 10 of these mowers sitting in his yard, so we can go down there and pull one off. But we'll have to make a separate trip to do that. So now I'm gonna go and work on this mechanism that's gonna go on here to allow the rope to have tension around this tire. We also need to fix this axle. We'll pull off some of the other tractor-ish parts that we don't need. We don't need the front wheels, the steering wheel, the mower, deck lower. We'll cut that stuff off. And then we also need to make a stand for it. But we'll start by fixing this axle. I think the easiest thing to do is clean this off really good, and we're just going to try welding this directly to this casing. We'll see if that holds a good weld. If not, we can attach something to this and affix that to this. But we'll try cleaning this really good and welding this first. Okay, so I got this piece of C-channel and drilled a hole in it and cut the shaft off. So now we'll stick this in here, weld this to this plate, weld that to the axle, and this side will be permanently fixed. So that will force all the power from the motor to go straight to that wheel. We got this all welded up. And then I just trimmed off the ears so they weren't sticking out where somebody could get caught on it. I'm just welding here with just a small wire feed welder, but we're running everything off the solar, so I try not to use a big welder. And this should be able to hold that. We'll see how it goes. Now let's move on to building a bracket that will hold the pulleys that will bind the rope in such a way to put tension on the tire and hopefully pull rotten children up the hill. Lincoln, what are you doing?
I'm taking the fuel tank off so we can disconnect the safety switch on the brake.
Why are we doing that?
Because we don't need brakes, and to start it you have to have the brake engaged. So we don't need that, so we're disconnecting it.
Okay, and I'm unbolting this body frame here so we can rip that off. So it's not going to interfere when we try to weld onto that, make a bracket to weld onto that. Sled.
Yes.
So we just pulled all the extra tractory parts we didn't need off this. Now we're going to get the rope to put on a tire for the rope pull, rope tow.
Yeah, We need the rope so that we can determine where the pulley is. But the rope's over at our other building that we made. We call it the lodge, and we're gonna go over there and get it with the tractor. Here's the rope. We made it over to the lodge. The lodge is about a half a mile from our barn, and we built this as kind of like a center gathering point when we do family camps. So we're kind of developing this part of the property for family camps. So we'll eventually have cabins and whatnot. Okay, on the rope, we bought this at an auction, military auction, government auction, and we weren't sure quite what we'd use it for. And I'm not certain exactly how long these things are, although they say they weigh 400 pounds each. So we're gonna try to wrestle them onto the front of the tractor. Maybe McKinley will do it. And I don't know how long they are, like I said. We need about 700 feet for the tow rope. So we're gonna go ahead and wrestle one of these over there, and then we will see how it goes. Jefferson,
Yeah?
how much does this rope weigh?
424 pounds.
Can you move 424 pounds? Not this way, move it the other way.
Okay.
Come on. Come on.
I can't.
Maybe the two of you can do it. Come on, Ken.
Yeah, I can.
Oh boy. I went over and picked up these 6x6 pressure treated posts that we had left over from one of the buildings we made, and I'm going to use these to support the lawnmower tow rope thingy underneath the zip line platform. So I need to start with 2 pieces at 8 feet. So I'm going to carry this in there, cut it at 8 feet, and kind of temporarily set it up in here. Then once we get all the bracketry and pulleys and everything figured out, we'll install it all in the zip line platform. These are 16 footers, so they're heavy. We made a little progress. I decided, since this rope was pretty thick in diameter, to use the front tire rims as the guide. So the way this will work is this rope will be going down the hill, and as you pull on this, it will create tension around the tire here, and it hopefully will bind it enough to pull it up. After it goes around the tire, it will need an idler pulley, so I'll use the other front wheel right here, and it'll guide it up and over and then back down the hill. At the bottom of the hill there'll be a pulley, and then we'll connect the tire and make it a continuous loop. And also need to cut off that pulley that's hitting my mounting bracket. That would have been the pulley that would have driven the mower deck. So we'll cut that off and then rig up how we're exactly going to mount this to the 6x6s. Once we get this other idler pulley on that and the mounting system figured out, we can take this outside. It's snowing out there, so the kids are getting more and more anxious to have this thing together and running, and so I need to get to work. We're getting closer. Okay, I went ahead and mounted some brackets here on the side. So I just welded these angle iron pieces on the side so we can use lag bolts and bolt this down to these timbers. I'll use a piece of all thread and go through this to through that. And now we'll join that all into one piece. The mechanism is good. We don't know if it works because I can't get the motor to work until I fix the carburetor. But we're just going to assume this is going to work just fine. And once I bolt this all together, we can pick this whole unit up, take it outside, and mount it under the zip line platform. We made it over here without destroying anything, so that was a success. Just to recap, instead of doing lag bolts and then all thread, I just did a piece of all thread all the way through here and bolted the toe plus the spacer plus the skid all in one piece. Now the plan is to get another piece of that 6x6 pressure treated and put it on the inside of these posts so it'll bear up against here. And the front part of the skid will rest on that. That will roughly level the toe, and then I'll run the all thread through the front of the skid pieces through this cross member, and then it'll be pretty much mounted where we want it. Then the next things we'll need to work on are getting the motor running, running the rope down the hill to the pulley at the bottom, and then doing the skirting on the side of this.